Hi, my name's Nick Broughton and I'm a Randomfish. Hit that subscribe button and tell me if you're a Randomfish too. And today I'm going to do something that I said I was going to do on Twitter. Obviously those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, do find me. I'm at the Randomfish. Yes, that is actually my Twitter handle. Shut up. The funny thing is that very recently I did a video which I've since taken down. That video being my little rant about Big Bang Theory and young Sheldon, about whether or not I felt whether I understood kind of the need for it, and why I sort of felt this need to sort of start complaining about it, and how I felt that certain emotional steps could have been taken in Big Bang Theory that weren't, and I see them as missed opportunities. However, since then, I have been rewatching the show, and since it came to a halt the last couple of weeks, last week it officially ended in the US. That was when the actual big finale happened. However, over here in England, on E4, yes, this platform actually does exist, and for a lot of people, this is where they get the Big Bang Theory, clearly, otherwise this TV show wouldn't still exist, at least not on that channel. And for many, E4 is where a lot of people got to watch the final episode. They didn't watch it online, they didn't watch it on some way that they could find it online or anything like that. They had to watch and wait for it to appear on E4 yesterday, on Thursday. So I'm here tonight doing my little review slash look back on Big Bang Theory, as well as actually taking a look at TV shows in general, and the fact that some of them are now, a couple of them have now come to an end. Two of them that are the biggest ones in the world for a while. Those being, of course, The Big Bang Theory and Game of Thrones. That came to an end not that long ago as well. So, I'm going to go with Big Bang Theory for now, because this is the main reason as to why I started talking about it in the first place. Big Bang Theory, the finale episodes, involve a lot of things happening that is a lot of fan service to those of you who are big, massive fans of the show. For example, that being that the elevator finally got fixed. Sheldon and Amy do win the Nobel Prize for asymmetry, which is fantastic for them. You get a series of things like, for example, Amy gets a new look and gets a haircut out of this because she suddenly realizes that she appears, to use her own words in the show, frumpy. And we, of course, eventually get the revelation of characters like Penny being pregnant, which, of course, is a massive thing. And we also get something that I think a lot of fans wanted to see, and something that I felt maybe should have happened a bit earlier in the show, but the fact that it happened at all is I will give it props. That being that Sheldon actually does finally say sorry for everything he's done, in a way. When he's being presented with the Nobel Prize, he had this whole speech originally prepared that was entirely him, and spoke all about how he was the genius, how, because he looks down on everyone else who isn't him. He doesn't feel anything for anyone of any kind of belief system that is below his own, i.e. everyone else. The only people who he has any modicum of respect or admiration for has been Leonard's own mother, Beverly Hofstetter, as well as the likes of his wife, Amy Farrah Fowler, and in a way, Leonard and Penny and Raj, Howard and Bernadette. These characters are still insulted, though, and it is a massive thing to hear Sheldon, I think, ask them to stand in that speech that he gives at making the Nobel Prize. If you haven't seen, if you've seen the episode, then you clearly know what it is that I'm talking about. And he lists them off one by one, actually trying to present them with some kind of decency, which I think is something that was long overdue for his character. And I think it's something that's very nice to see, and it is a lot of fun to finally see them get their due from him. It is nice to finally get that. It's that moment where you go, oh, finally, you finally did something right. But I want to talk about the scene that doesn't immediately precede it, but the one that's before that. There's a scene where Sheldon is being forced by Amy to say congratulations about Penny being pregnant to Leonard and Penny. And Howard comes in and essentially says that he is having a meltdown because he and Bernadette are not with the kids. Sheldon then proceeds to say, well, buck up. This is a big day for me. I.e., it's all about Sheldon still. He isn't even giving... It's our big day. He's not even including Amy in that. It's just him all at that point. Howard then, says that he's going home, that they're going home. He doesn't care. If Sheldon's going to treat him like that, then why should he stay kind of mentality. He doesn't actually say that, but it is implied in his words. And Leonard, of course, does the same thing in return. He just says, we're going with you. Penny then tries to sort of respond, but she is currently a slave to her cravings, if you will. And Leonard sort of makes the case of the food that she likes will be on the plane, and so Penny's just like, yeah, see you later, I don't care. And the scene I want to talk about isn't even that scene, it's the scene directly after that. I needed that scene to set this up. Sheldon is very annoyed by this, and is sort of saying he doesn't understand how they're still his... how Amy can still call them their friends when they won't be there for them to sort of see them get the award and everything else. And Amy does make possibly one of the best lines, I feel, in the entire episode, even more so than the speech, where she says, you insulted our friends. You hurt, you really hurt them. You hurt their feelings. And Sheldon says, I didn't mean to. And then this is where Amy gives, I feel, possibly the best line in the entire... in the entirety of the show. It's not... I don't think it's not quite number one, but it's one of the best lines that I've ever heard her, at least, utter. Which is, I know you don't mean to. That's the only reason they tolerate you. I know you didn't mean to. That's the only reason they tolerate you. It's not the actual... there's a bit more to the line than just that, but that's the basis of what it is. And that, to me, cements the show and the show's dynamic. In the third season, we understand why they even became friends with Sheldon in the first place, because Sheldon saved Leonard's life from being blown up by a bomb, and you get this idea that Leonard has sort of built up this friendship with Sheldon over the years. Sheldon and Leonard have built up this friendship over the years, and Sheldon's brashness, his rudeness, his general ego, everything about him that makes Sheldon annoying has been diluted because Leonard knows that he doesn't do it on purpose and knows he doesn't do it in mean-spiritedness. And there is that fraction way back when, in another episode, when they work with Professor Proton, when Leonard is working with Professor Proton, and he says, well, you have to realise that he's not doing it on purpose. He also uses the line of, he's a little broken and he needs me. I think that perfectly encapsulates Sheldon and Leonard's friendship, and I think that's a brilliant way of putting it. But I have to say that over the years of the show's existence, it has become this very real and this very profound series that has touched a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And while I could sit here and bitch and moan about the things that I think the show could have done, the fact that it's lasted 12 seasons shows that a lot of people are willing to look past the issues, which I think is a great thing. Something I will always say for a show is that the mark of a good show is one that still has its flaws, still has its annoyances, still has those moments where even people like myself as writers can sit back and go, but you could have done this with this, and oh my god, the opportunities you could have taken, and you still enjoy it and you still want to watch the show. And I think that is possibly the best thing you could possibly have done for that setup. And I honestly do find myself enjoying Big Bang Theory more and more whenever I watch it, and I don't say that I hate it because I don't like the show. I say that sometimes I hate it because I wish there were opportunities that it took, and I want that to be abundantly clear. So but I perfectly enjoy the show. It's over now. There's not a whole lot else you can really do with it. And while the show itself is now over, we do get this rather brilliant thing of looking back on it and sort of realizing that this show spanned 12 seasons. It's the longest running multicam sitcom in US history. It outdid Cheers. That's how big this is now. This show outdid Cheers, and honestly, I'm kind of amazed that it outdid Cheers. Not because I'm amazed that the show lasted as long as it did. I didn't think, it's not that I thought that the fans would diminish or the viewership would diminish of the show. I still think that it was popular from the get-go to the end. Because there was always something in there for someone to enjoy. I'm shocked that it is this show that has... I'm surprised nothing else has surpassed Cheers. And it's made me realise just how special the show is. That it outdid... Because to me, a show outlasting Cheers wasn't, as I referred to it anyway, its call for greatness. I think of Frasier as being superior to Cheers. Not because it lasts longer, but because of its characters and its core essence. I think of Friends as being superior to Cheers, not because it lasted longer, but because, again, of the characters and its links. But Big Bang Theory has taken good characters and still managed to keep the series going beyond what Cheers did, and I only just realised that. That, to me, is a massive achievement. The show has something like 279 episodes to its name. I mean, good God! Where else do you think you would honestly see that sort of thing coming from? And it's fun to have that sort of thing happen to you. It's great to see that kind of show happen. Because it allows you to truly embrace something that is long-lasting and full of good characters. Now, I want to go into what I feel are my favourite episodes of the show, but I'm not going to do that because everyone has their favourite episodes. I'm going to list some of my favourites. I'm not going to list them in any kind of order. This is not in any kind of order whatsoever. I love the pilot. I love the pilot episode, as in the aired one, not the unaired one. The unaired one can go suck an egg as far as I'm concerned. But the pilot episode is one I definitely recommend. I recommend watching the finale of Season 1. I recommend watching Season 3's opener. I recommend watching... There's the brilliant episode where Sheldon ends up not being able to sleep and trying to figure out why electrons act as if they have no mass when going through a graphene sheet. I think that's one of the best ones ever, where he stays awake for so long and ends up taking a job as a busboy in a busboy or a waiter or something like that in the Cheesecake Factory in order to get his brain working again, which is absolutely hilarious. I love that episode. I think that's a brilliant one because you don't have necessarily the first episode of Bazinga, which of course is the other major one that you kind of have to find. But that is in that episode. You get the first ever Bazinga, or the first major Bazinga, if you will. The first one that's sort of more corely linked to the audience, because obviously that's in the ball pit, where he keeps popping up and doing the whole Bazinga stuff. That's what you see with that. The other episodes I would recommend are, like I said, episode 3 opener. I recommend the first time that Will Wheaton turns up in the show. In fact, heck, I recommend all episodes with Will Wheaton because it's just funny. There's too many to mention to really recommend. I mean, I'm covering the first 3 seasons because those are the first 3. Obviously, they're the first ones that come into my head because I'm going from the beginning onwards. There's nothing I really hold that much of, but obviously if you want to see the best of, I mean, obviously if you watched it in the UK on E4, as I did, then you would have watched the best of all the ones that the public voted for on E4 on that Sunday previously, so clearly that's a thing. But I want to move on from Big Bang Theory now, and I want to move on to Game of Thrones. Now, I will be frantically honest with you. I have watched most of the run of the show, and I have watched the whole thing now, thankfully, thanks to wonderful things like DVDs, which is a fantastic thing to have at this point, DVDs and Blu-rays. this last season has been difficult but not impossible to watch. So it's been okay on that front, thankfully. I do, however, like to point out rather consistently from a lot of people that people seem to not like this ending because of this, and I haven't watched this season in its entirety. I have yet to watch all of the episodes. I do this thing where I watch the episodes, but I don't quite take everything on board. I tend to, unless it's a big thing, like a show that I'm insanely into, I tend not to watch I tend to sort of wait until the DVD comes out, and then I watch the whole thing, and then I'm glued to the screen for the amount of time that it's there. And I don't say this to piss people off, and I'm not saying this in contradiction to what I was trying to say. I was trying to watch this current season online through various legal means because, frankly, I was 100% trying to watch this season because I wanted to be kept up to date so I could keep in contact with all of the nerds who were sort of all the fellow nerds who were jumping down the throat of the creators for this. And I will be honest, I haven't quite caught everything yet, but I've seen enough of it where it's been spoiled for me, and I can have a show spoiled for me and still watch it and still be engrossed by the awesomeness of the show. So, you know, I'm sorry if people think that I'm taking the lazy way through with this, but frankly, I don't care. But I have just one thing to say to those people that are complaining about how the ending was, or how they felt that the ending wasn't as epic as it could have been, or how they feel like, you know, everything got changed really quickly, how the change was so dramatic that there was no way you could have possibly explained it in a decent way. I just feel like I feel obligated where I have to say this. You were never going to be happy with the ending. You weren't. Someone was always going to be pissed off about one way of an ending or another. And I'll be absolutely honest, George R.R. Martin, his writing style, at the very least, in the books, and obviously what's been going through with the show so far, I feel obligated to point out to you people that he makes a very good living, if you will, creating characters that you love and adore, and at the very next question, and the second that you feel like you can't live without them, he kills them. Wipes them out. And he doesn't do it... He does it for dramatic effect, and he does it to upset you as a reader. And he does it to essentially create enough buzz that you want to keep on reading because you have to find out what happens next. Because, oh my god, this character that I love is now gone. What am I going to do now? Oh my god, oh, these other characters look pretty cool. Oh, I'll see what happens to them next. That's how it works. I mean, did you honestly foresee an ending where anyone was going to be happy? I mean, it kind of stands to reason, doesn't it? It stands to reason that George R.R. Martin, or the writers of Game of Thrones, of the TV show, would legitimately do this. That all, you know, subverted expectations, that all expectations would just be subverted completely. Is it any wonder that that's how the show ended? Do you really honestly think that that's what's going to happen? And I mean, I think the funniest thing is this whole cup on the set thing. I love how some people are trying to explain it away, sort of being like, you know, it's a fantasy world. Why can't this happen? You know, the rules are arbitrary. The rules are not arbitrary. It's a silly thing that happened. We noticed it. We're in the age of the internet. These things were going to get noticed. If Game of Thrones had been out during the 70s or the 80s or the 90s even, it wouldn't have been that evident. And it wouldn't have been that easy to see. I mean, I would have laughed. You know, I'm pretty sure that happened. A couple of people might have noticed it and talked about it to a couple of their friends, and it wouldn't have gone anywhere. And then the internet would have been invented, and by that point, no one would have cared about the ending at all. Everyone would still love Game of Thrones for what it does, and by the time this sort of thing reared its ugly head, everyone was just going to laugh about it. And I think that's what amuses me now about this. TV show finales and TV shows in general now have to try so much harder because of this internet-obsessed world that we now live in, where all the mistakes can be found and they can be circled with a big red marker, and just be like, that shouldn't be there. Exactly. Mistakes are made. Sometimes these things happen. It's bad. Don't get me wrong. It is a bad mistake. It is a blunder. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like the people that spend too much time harping on it are those that are going to get punched in the face. And it's the same thing for this finale. Yes, the finale wasn't what we thought of. Yes, sometimes these things can be a little bit stilted. Yes, sometimes the writing isn't as good as we hoped it would be. But ask yourself, were you really going to get the version that was built up in your head? Was it really going to be the same idealized version that you ever wanted it to be? I doubt it. Somewhat. I doubt it. You know what? If you disagree with me, please write it in the comments. I'm not gonna be defending myself, because frankly I come from a world where I'm okay with the plot being spoiled for me for things, and then I still read a book or I still watch a show and I'm still entranced by it because I'm looking forward to the journey that takes you to that finale, not necessarily the finale itself. It's the same thing with The Flash. Like, I know I've seen enough things online, and I've seen enough YouTube videos that pop up that have told me exactly what happens in Flash Season 5, but I don't care, because I still want to watch it happen. I still want to watch these things occur, and I still enjoy it. But anyway, that's my little rant about the TV finales. Big Bang Theory and Game of Thrones have now come to a close. You know what? Put in the comments below your favourite episode of The Big Bang Theory, or the favourite episode of The Big Bang Theory. I'm going to stick with Big Bang Theory. I'm not going to be talking about Game of Thrones as much, because I am not as coherent as a lot of other people could be. If you want to find something or someone who talks about it a lot more, please go on Spotify or wherever it is you get your audio pieces and look up for the podcast Mostly Nitpicking. You'll find there the episode of After the Thrones, I believe, where they talk about the finale with the guy Nando. And also, if you're looking for that, look up Nando's YouTube channel as well here on YouTube. Please do so. And subscribe to me, the Randomfish, here at the Randomfish Project. And this is just me trying to sell myself and trying to sell other YouTubers. But no, please do continue to watch my videos. Please look in my back catalogue. Please do that. Check out my Darren Sham pitching video. It's the one that's just before this one. And please do keep in contact, and please let me know about these things. Please comment, please like, please subscribe, do whatever. But on that note, I'm simply going to say this: Randomfish out.